Welcome back to Telltale Books. I'm Greg,
And I'm Emily.
and we're here to talk about a modern classic, which definitely is a classic already,
Absolutely.
The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and we are prepared.
We have our towels. Never be caught without your towels.
Nope,
But yeah,
we have them.
here we are.
And I'm going to let you go with the
Synopsis
synopsis.
right away. All
Okay.
right. A man wakes up and his house is being bulldozed down on a very stupid Thursday. And so as he's sitting out front, in front of this house, his dear, dear friend, Ford, comes and picks him up and basically says, "Hey, we need to go to the pub." And so he goes to the pub with his friend Ford, and his friend's like, "The Earth is ending. It's just getting destroyed." He's like, "What?" It's like, "The world is ending." So, and everybody in the bar is like, "What the fuck? This guy's nuts." And then finally, everybody realizes he's not lying. And it's funny because the reason that this guy's house was being bulldozed was for a bypass that was going to go through. Earth is being bulldozed because of galactic bypass that was going through. So Ford grabs his friend and says, "We're going to hitchhike out of here." They happen to get beamed up to the Vogon's spaceship. And that's where this adventure begins.
Mm-hmm.
And as they travel through the universe, trying to hitchhike their way here, there, and everywhere, and having lovely adventures, they end up finding themselves on a ship called the Heart of Gold
Mm-hmm.
with, what's his name? Beeblebrox? Battle
Oh, I
Beeblebrox?
can't remember. But he's the president of the
Yeah.
galaxy.
He's the president of the galaxy and dumb as a stump. Has more than one head. And this lovely lady who is also an Earthling who happens to know our main character. So they go through the adventures of having lost Earth completely and trying to find a way to basically build a home, rebuild a home, and they catch little little hints about a planet that builds other planets.
Mm-hmm.
And through the whole thing, they start learning about life, the universe, and everything. And you get little great tidbits about different parts of the galaxy from the Hitchhiker's Guide, which is the basically a tablet that has all of the known knowledge of the universe on it for people who are hitchhikers like Ford.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious book. So much situational humor, so much absurd humor. Like every type of humor that you can think of is in this book, including some of the sassy and appropriate stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the perfect crazy ass adventure for somebody who wants a good laugh. And of course, everyone must have your towel because it is according to the Hitchhiker's Guide, a towel is the most important tool that anyone could ever have in the
Well,
whole
then
universe.
in the Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yeah, that and the guide. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's the second most important tool
Mm-hmm.
beside the Hitchhiker's Guide. So you just meet this lovely array of aliens and characters and species and just all kinds of crazy, hilarious stuff. And when you read this book, do not skip over the prologue. It is fantastic as well for only being 3 paragraphs long. If I could get it tattooed on my back, I would. But my favorite concluding line of the entire prologue is, "It begins with a house."
Mm-hmm.
So,
And we can't possibly do justice to the just incredibly brilliant humor of this work.
absolutely
Let me,
incredible.
for those of you who aren't so familiar, let me give you a little history because I kind of live the history of this.
Yeah.
Um, Originally, Douglas Adams wrote this for BBC Radio. It was a radio play,
Hmm.
and so it was just spoken. You could listen to it. It was brought over to the States and played on NPR.
Hmm.
That's where I first heard this. So I listened to the radio play on NPR. And then they put out a TV series of it
Hmm.
on the BBC, which was picked up by PBS. But I read the first book. It is the whole story. If you watch the movie, the whole story covers, I think, the first 4 books.
Hmm.
And
So
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is just the first book. And I read that as a paperback when that came out. And then the TV series was imported and played on PBS. And so I saw the BBC TV series. And then, of course, in the 1990s, they finally, after Douglas Adams died, um, finished and released his movie version,
mhm.
which was awesome. Every version of this was just awesome. They're all a little different. They're all just as zany and crazy and brilliant. Um, the the number of little things that you get when you're reading this that not there are things not everybody would get, like Encyclopedia Britannica
Yeah,
or Encyclopedia Galactica.
Galactica.
That's from Foundation.
Yep.
And so
There's little Easter
the
eggs
way he
throughout
puts
it.
down the Encyclopedia
Hmm.
Galactica and says how Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy sold better and is more useful
Hmm.
is just hilarious.
Yes.
Totally ripping on Isaac Asimov.
Yes. And I think there's like some great moments in here too. Like this is where the meme about towels. Towel Day is a thing because of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The meaning of life, the universe, and everything is 42, which is a commonly said thing in my household. What does it mean? 42. And actually, what I found out, and I don't know how true this is, because you know how the internet sometimes spews information, but the reason that Douglas Adam put 42 as the meaning to life, the universe, and everything is because in early computer programming, 42 was part of the code that is whatever you make it.
Yeah.
And so that is why 42 was the answer to life, the universe, and everything is because life, the universe, the meaning to life, the universe, and everything is whatever you make it or whatever choice you make,
Hmm.
which I thought was really lovely. But this continues into a series. It was originally just the book and then a trilogy and then the inaccurately named trilogy of 5 books by the end of it. Zaphoid Beeblebrox is the
That's it.
thing. That's
That's
where
it.
it is. But there's just so many great science fiction memes about this book
Hmm.
because it is was such a phenomenon to pop culture in and of itself.
Hmm.
It's just a really great work. It's hilarious. I love all the characters. You get into book 2 and 3, you meet another lovely array of characters who are just crazy, zany, super fun. The whole thing is just amazing. But yes, the
Yeah.
first book is a great start to get introduced to his type of writing. And absolutely, even though you know it's absurd humor, all of it sounds plausible.
Hmm.
He writes it in such a way that you're like, of course.
Well, it's all satire on our world, like the
Yeah.
idea of putting in a bypass and destroying somebody's house. That's stuff that happens
Yes.
in our real
And
world.
bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of this is just poking fun of bureaucracy.
Yes.
It's and business and capitalism.
Hmm.
And like it's a fantastic satire. And what better place than across the universe? I love how Ford comes up with his name. That's one of my favorite parts of the book because
Okay.
he thought the cars were actually the
Yeah.
superior
Oh, yeah.
beings of,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so he took on a name that was common, and so he was a Ford vehicle essentially. So he named
Thought he
himself
would
Ford.
blend in.
Yeah, yeah, thought he would blend in, but
Well, I love when the computer computes that the meaning of life, the universe, and everything is 42. The the beings that paid for this,
mm-hmm,
they didn't like the answer. So they created the earth
mm-hmm,
to try and come up with a new answer. And they
yep,
knew it was going to take billions of years. And so then the Volgons,
yeah, the Vogons.
they come through and destroy the earth just before they were about to get the answer. So they're pissed.
Yeah. And then they
And
find these humans have survived, so then they're chasing them down. Also with the president of the galaxy who has warrants out for his galactic arrest in every planet. All of them.
and we find out that the beings that are behind all this are mice.
Yeah. Mice. Of
White
all things.
mice that came from another dimension.
And when we were studying the mice in science labs, it was actually them studying
Studying us.
us.
Yeah. Hilarious.
It's
Just
so good.
absolutely hilarious. And science fiction has not really been known for its humor. There
Mm-hmm.
have been some really humorous stories, like um, Frederick Brown, uh, Martians Go Home.
Mhm.
That's a pretty funny story. Um, Reginald Brentner, the nerds come from the woodwork out.
Mhm.
That's a funny story. There has been humor in science fiction,
Mhm.
but nothing on this level
No,
before
this
this
is
came out.
unlike any book you will ever read in
Yeah.
the science fiction genre or in any genre, as far as I'm concerned. This
Mhm.
is the epitome of classic comedy and science fiction.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. Comedy usually doesn't become classics. They're,
Mhm.
like movies.
Yeah.
There are very, very few classic comedies where you can find all kinds of classic dramas.
Mhm.
You look at the Oscars, very, very few comedies actually win the Oscars. Most of them are very serious movies.
Mhm.
So comedy is difficult to do well at, and difficult to do at that level that it
Mhm.
really strikes everybody so much that it becomes everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
This has become everybody's favorite. Even people who don't like science fiction just love this book.
It's fantastic. And honestly, this is one of only two comedies that I can think of that are considered instant classics. This and Princess Bride.
Yeah.
That's it.
Hmm.
And this reads more like a fantasy than a science fiction because a lot of the science in it is so far fetched and so satirical and so absurd.
Yeah.
You're not really reading a science fiction, it just happens to be intergalactic.
But the science in it is not that much worse than what you get out
No,
of a Star Trek episode.
absolutely not.
I mean, the
Absolutely
Star
not.
Trek, most of the science in Star Trek is pretty crappy.
Yeah. So,
Um,
but it's just a really fun read. A
hmm.
lot of situational humor. Like,
Hmm.
there's just something to tickle everybody in this book. For real. It's
Hmm.
hilarious.
I love the improbability drive.
Yeah. I love the
Or
photon
when the
poetry.
Oh yeah,
Love it.
but I love
Oh,
when the missiles are coming at when the missile is coming at them and they use the improbability drive to and it becomes
a whale and a
a whale
petunia.
and a petunia.
Yeah. And the petunia, the
And
last thought of the
as they're
petunia.
going down to the planet, the
Yeah.
last thought of the
The
petunias.
petunias. Oh
Oh
no,
no,
not
not again.
again. And I want to know the story of that petunia.
Exactly. That's
Oh,
what makes it funny.
again. What does this mean? But yes, it is definitely a fantastic read. There's so many great. The most memeable book on the market.
Hmm.
It's so good.
Seriously, there's never been anything else like that.
So yeah, Top Tail.
Oh yeah.
Always
Oh
and
yeah.
forever. The entire series, as far
And
as I'm
we'll
concerned.
cover the rest of the series too, but we're just talking about the first book here,
The
which
Hitchhiker's Guide.
how far where exactly did that stop now?
It stops at the
They
rebuilding of Earth.
Yeah.
Yep. So they do eventually find the planet. Spoiler alert, they find the planet that is able to build Earth and they rebuild Earth.
But then
They
there's
make some
something needed.
changes too.
There's something they need, so they have to go off to the restaurant at the end of the universe. That's where it ends.
I think that Zaphoid Beeblebrox needs something
Yeah.
in particular, not necessarily them. Because
Hmm.
Earth is rebuilt. The humans go back and kind of like build their lives there or whatever.
Okay.
And Zaphoid Beeblebrox is the one who goes and decides to be a dickwad elsewhere in the universe where his warrants are out for his arrest for stealing the Heart of Gold anyway.
Hmm.
So, just read it. We can't
Yeah.
do it justice. We could just sit here and laugh about everything, but
Hmm.
you have to read it and experience it to know.
Yes, you do. And it's just, we make a lot of things top tails, but if there's anything that I can think of that so completely deserves that distinction, this is it.
The creativity is
You
unparalleled.
could argue with us on most of the rest of what we've put on our list, but this one, I don't think you can possibly argue the
No,
genius of this book.
no, it's fantastic. And the entire series, too, is that
Hmm.
good. So we will get to the rest of it. But that's all I can say without repeating myself and just praising how good this book is. So.
Exactly.
But yeah, so thanks for joining us. Like and subscribe. Let us know how you feel about the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, including all of the media around it too. There's a lot of controversy on if the movies or certain aspects of remakes of this were good. But I think they're all fantastic. I
I
love it.
enjoyed them all.
So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
And don't forget your towel
Don't
and
forget
your
to
nuts. Make sure to eat those nuts too.
eat your nuts. Keep the salt levels up. See you next time.
Bye.